I feel shame all around me, all the time, in people I love and people I barely know. And honestly, quite often in myself. This led me to think, why? Why are we carrying so much shame and so much fear and guilt inside of us? Why? Where did this start? Where is this coming from? So today, we are going to explore guilt and fear, two elements of this game of life that drain so much out of our experience. Just as with many other things in our lives, shame began in our childhood, when we were so young, so small, but still capable of understanding that love was conditional. It would be based on how much of a good kid we were, how well we behaved, how much we achieved, how much we pleased. Very early on, we understood that being me naturally, with my natural instincts, it's not safe. We had to pick between authenticity and connection. And connection was survival. That's where shame began, when we had to separate our true, raw self with the mask in order to be accepted, loved, and later socialized. Later in adult life, it leads us to a feeling of not deserving love, having parts of yourself that are so ugly, you should be so ashamed of them. How could someone ever love you unconditionally if you're full of awful parts that can't be loved? We all carry that all the time. We are all searching for love, but too ashamed to be who we truly are. We all experience some level of this, and it matches so well with our culture of self-improvement, becoming better and better and better. Because maybe if I'm better, if I fix this about myself that is inherently wrong, because I have these wrong parts in myself, if I fix them, I will be loved. Just this next thing, and then I will be worthy of love. Do you feel this? Because I do. People I love feel that way. I notice this in people I barely know. We're all running desperately from vulnerability and authenticity because of shame, yet chasing this unconditional, perfect love. But that is the individual experience. If you take a few steps back, you will understand that in our society, those feelings are so common. It almost feels like guilt and shame are the elements that bind this whole society, civilization, this game together. It's what keeps us obedient, distracted, and following. And when you really think about it, it takes you back to religion. Shame and guilt are important elements of big religions. Just think about the original sin for a second. How much shame. Our ancestors disrespected God. They ate the apple. How could they? It all began there. Mix that with the Jesus story. He died for our sins. This amazing man that did so much good that we learn about. He died for my sins. We were put, and we are still being put on a constant state of seeking for redemption outside of us. Seeking for someone to love us and then we'll be redempted, or for God to save my soul. I mean that with the utmost respect to faith and religions. However, To me, source and this beautiful power is so far away from what religion imposed to us. But we'll talk about that at a different time. I love what Nietzsche has to say on this subject. He talks about guilt being the price we had to pay for a civilization. We had to let go of our natural instincts. Guilt was necessary for obedience to happen. He talks about how instead of celebrating life, we are constantly apologizing for it, apologizing for our existence, for our shame, for all the things we carry, the natural things. And when I say natural, I mean sometimes we forget, but we are animals. We are animals with natural instincts that are socially bad and ugly and grotesque. And it's an interesting point. Maybe we would have never had an organized society if guilt and shame weren't so present. Because of this story we were told, and we keep telling ourselves, we tend to believe that we need to endure suffering in order to feel good. Cause and effect, right? I must go through a lot of challenges and pain in order for me to deserve to feel good. Because simply feeling good without a reason, feeling satisfied and happy, is a bit of a lazy move, no? Something to be a little ashamed of, a little guilty. How aren't you working more? Why aren't you improving yourself more? Look, there's a new thing for you to be ashamed about. Buy this product and we'll be solved. It's a perfect match for our society. It has always been, but it's interesting how the system is shaped, but the main motivator stays the same. Just thinking about capitalism and shame. Anyway, we keep on believing that we need to deserve our pleasure, we need to deserve the moments of joy and relaxation, that they must be fought for in some way. I want you to know that you can feel good right now without having everything figured out just yet. Can you do that for me? Feel genuinely good about yourself right now. Not when you fix that thing or when someone outside of you finally redempts you from being who you are. I want you to feel good now. I give you the permission to feel amazing right now, to feel connected to who you are. There's this beautiful concept in Hinduism called Ananda that says that our natural state is one of bliss, joy, delight, awareness, connection, presence, of good feelings. Very different from the stories we're told, but an interesting thing to explore. I've been trying to incorporate that. I bet my natural state is not stress and fear. No, it can't be that. So why am I always like this? I'd invite you to be curious. Another concept from Hinduism that I feel like it makes sense to bring here is Lila. I remember when I first learned about Lila, how much it changed my worldview. Things felt much lighter and more fun. Lila explains that the universe was a creation of God, through God and to God, or source, for fun, for amusement, for delight, for the simple pleasure of expression, of experience. To see life, the universe, existence as a beautiful cosmic playground, a place for play, for joy, delight, amusement, that we can perceive it with wonder. To think about it this way, even if it's just for a couple minutes a day or for 5 minutes now, it opens up new possibilities, or it has the potential of opening up. You let me know. My interest here is to make you curious about the subject. I want to have a spark and explore inside of yourself or from books or content or other people any of the parts that trigger something in you, be it good or bad. There's so much we need to learn from healing a relationship with pleasure. We see pleasure as something dirty, something that we should hide, something directly tied to sex or the cheap dopamine hits we get nowadays, or drugs, or addiction, or vice. But pleasure has the potential of being experienced as something extremely divine and beautiful. We'll talk about that some other day. I want you to understand that shame closes you off. If you carry all this weight all the time, your breath is tightening, your body is tense, so you're closed. In order to flow with this existence, to be open to love, to feel good, feel amazing, you must be open. Pleasure requires openness to exist. And I want you to feel that. I don't have an absolute way of how can we get rid of this shame. And I don't think we can ever do it, at least completely, maybe a little bit. But we must be aware of it. We must be curious about it. And hopefully, you can figure it out and tell me, because what I'm talking to you about here is something I face every day. It's not solved for me. But I honestly think it might never be. And that's fine. It's still worth the reflection and the curiosity. Yeah. If you stayed with me until now, I want to say that I appreciate you so much to spend your time here with me and have this exchange. I want to hear from you too. I want to know about your experiences. And I will do my best to post more often. I'm traveling a bit. Last time I talked to you, I was going to Paris. I stayed there for a little bit, and now I'm in Spain, in this beautiful place called Costa Brava, close to Barcelona, close to the beach. I actually grew up in Spain, so it's beautiful to spend time here. Don't forget to stay curious. Just see what happens.